How many of you are entrepreneurs here? How many of you want to become entrepreneurs? That's nice. Why do we become entrepreneurs? It's a question that fascinates me. Why do we let ourselves be drawn to this Circe, this enchantress, who tempts us, beguiles us, captivates us? Whether we end up seducing her or not depends on our wherewithal, but attracted we certainly are. Like Luke said, over the last 5 years, I've mentored more than 500 entrepreneurs. And I've heard all kinds of excuses why they become entrepreneurs. Some commonplace ones like, oh, I want to be my own boss, or I want to make loads of money. Some uncommon ones like, I want to define my identity, or I want to create meaning in society. Some bizarre ones like, that's the only way I can avoid getting married. Or, I can ask for dowry without feeling guilty. Some passionate ones like, not being an entrepreneur is not an option at all. And some really touching ones like the 67-year-old lady who came to me 4 years ago and said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm pretty much illiterate. I'm the wife of a very big industrialist. Before I die, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to see respect for me in the eyes of my husband and 2 sons. All these are excuses. Mind you, like Lawrence of Arabia, I'm making a distinction between excuse and reason. All of these are excuses. All of them converge into one reason and one reason only. And that is that we all love to leave a footprint behind. And in leaving a footprint behind, what we are actually seeking is immortality. In the past, in India, we sought immortality through our sons. The Sanskrit word for son is putra, which comes from the word put, which means hell. So the son was supposed to save the father from hell. In other words, make him immortal. When the son makes his offerings during the death ceremony, it's not just to his father, but to 8 generations of forefathers. That was really a clever way of being immortal. Today, times and climes have changed. So we seek immortality by becoming entrepreneurs. Look at this awesome word, antarprerana, Sanskrit word again, antarprerana, which means inspired from within. That's who we are, entrepreneurs, magical thinkers, right? All of you here, yes or no? We're the magical thinkers, right? We are like Prometheus, who stole fire from the fire gods, right? Absolutely. And look at the sheer coincidence. They not only look similar, they pronounce similar. Antarprerana, entrepreneur. If we are inspired from within, are entrepreneurs born or are they made? Can they be made? Are leaders born or can they be made? Some are born, some can be made. So how do you make them? How do you make entrepreneurs? By giving them knowledge, by upskilling them, and in doing both, vesting in them the confidence that they can develop the right attitude. It's pretty much like swimming, right? You're afraid of water till you learn how to swim. What does learn to swim mean? Acquiring knowledge of the pool, the properties of water, the depth of the pool, learning how to move your arms and legs, learning how to stay afloat, control your breath. Am I right? That's how you do it? So when you have learned to swim, fear for water goes out of the window and a water baby is born. Why do we become entrepreneurs when we know the lows are so abysmally low? All of us know that. There's nothing more demeaning, demoralizing than a demotivated entrepreneur. The lows are abysmally low. Even at the risk of sounding facetious, I'd like to think that it is because the highs are so intoxicatingly high. Anything else is less and unacceptable. I mentor women in Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Somalia, Nigeria, and Ghana. I mentor them to build micro-enterprises. The women in Afghanistan, 2,800 of them, became entrepreneurs because 14 years ago, their husbands went away to war, and they haven't seen them since. I've been mentoring them for the last 4 years. But having become entrepreneurs, the kind of language of empowerment that they have acquired, nothing will induce them to give it up. So one of the evenings, we were, indulging in a bit of chick-talk, and I said to them, what happens if your husbands come back now? And all of them said, we will shoot them. Not because they don't want their men back, but because they don't want their old lives back. I went to Afghanistan, I think almost about 4 years ago. A client of mine had disbursed microfinance, and although the repayments had started coming, he began to get concerned that maybe money had gone where it should not have gone. So he sent me there for audit. The first time I went there, I realized two things. If I don't mentor these women, they will forever and ever and ever remain livelihood entrepreneurs, sustenance entrepreneurs. And number two, they may repay the money, but there is a decided chance that they will lapse below the poverty line. So, I make about 6 trips a year for the last 4 years, and I'm extremely proud to share this, with you guys. For the last almost a year, nearly 95% of them have transformed their businesses from livelihood entrepreneurship to ethical, scalable, profitable enterprises. All of them opportunity-based enterprises. Why then don't more and more of us in India become entrepreneurs? I figured it's because we don't know how. Look at the challenge. I think a few people have already talked about it. The Indian education system is such that it pretty much decimates your creativity and independent thinking. You have to survive. To survive, you have to conform. Conforming means doing the same endless, streamless kinds of activity by rote. And then one day you get an engineering degree or an MBA degree, and then you announce to the world, hey, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, and everybody will say, now you have to be creative. No brainer. Look at the challenges this poor kid faces, 23, 24-year-old, just coming out of an engineering or a business school. Firstly, the system has killed his creativity. He's still expected to be creative. He's never been inside an organization, but he's expected to build one. He not only does not have any money on him, he's got a hefty student loan, yet he's expected to bootstrap his company. How? How does he do it? What does this little kid have? What does this young guy have? All he has is an idea in his head, passion in his heart, and song on his lips. What does he do? He finds himself a mentor. Who is a mentor? We use the word bandied about, in India particularly. It's good that we talk about a mentor, but we don't know, we don't understand who is a mentor. To me, a mentor is somebody who bridges the inexperience gap, who opens doors, who handholds with accountability and responsibility. There are times when my mentees call me just to hear my voice. There are times when they call me just so I can hear their voice. Nothing earth-shattering. Just the comfort of knowing that there is somebody you can turn to, somebody whose experience you can benefit from, somebody whose insights you can make use of, somebody who will never say, your company. Somebody who will always say, our company. And most important, somebody who's so well connected, he can pretty much give you access to everything and everybody. That's why we co-founded Karma. Karma is an acronym for creating access to resources and markets. So we could connect aspiring and practicing entrepreneurs to their natural habitat, thereby changing the karma of entrepreneurs in India. Why did I become an entrepreneur? I think that needs to be answered. Why did I become an entrepreneur? Let me tell you a story to illustrate this. There was this village school in Orissa which had introduced English for the first time in class 5. The teacher was not taking any chances, so she prepped up the class thoroughly. She told them in the final examination, the question would be, write an essay on the cow. She made them write the essay. She asked them to learn it by heart. And on D-Day, as it happens many times, there was a mishap. And instead of write an essay on the cow, the question was, write an essay on a tree. So the whole class was seen struggling with it. But there was this one bright, creative youngster who decided to beat the system. And he drew a cow, and he wrote, this is a cow. And he drew a tree, and he wrote, it is tied to a tree, and now my essay will be on the cow that is tied to the tree. Jugaad thinking, but that's me. My whole theory of entanglement is that everything in my life is connected with entrepreneurship. How did this come about? I spent 20 years in the corporate sector, pretty much on all the inhabited continents, came back home 5 years ago. A premier business school invited me to teach. When I went to meet them, they asked me, what can you teach? And I thought, a little cockily, if I might add, given the diversity of my experience, I should be able to teach pretty much anything. So somebody said, why don't you teach entrepreneurship? We never get people to teach that subject. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? Even as I said, why not, believe you me, it never occurred to me. It absolutely just didn't occur to me what I was getting into. It was just another word in the English dictionary. Little did I suspect at that time that, it would consume my whole being. When I started teaching entrepreneurship, it occurred to me that you can't teach entrepreneurship like a management subject, theoretically, within the confines of a classroom. You need to feel for it. It needs to come from the bottom of your stomach. So I said, where do I get this feeling from? So my answer was, maybe by mentoring entrepreneurs. That's how I managed to bring, and I think that's my biggest takeaway in these last 5 years. I've managed to bring real-time experience, real-time value from the world of entrepreneurship into my classroom. Why do we become entrepreneurs? Because it's this amazing, ennobled pilgrimage, this glorious journey of discovery. Discovery not just of the world around us, discovering ourselves, of who we are, of strengths we had never acknowledged in ourselves, of weaknesses we never knew we had. Why do we become entrepreneurs? Because when the white-coated guys come to take us away, we can look them in the eye and say, hey, we are the good guys. May our tribe increase.